Finally, we're back. Finally. It's been a minute, but, preparing the setup, the rig, a new monitor, and just kind of, overhauling my entire setup took a bit longer than planned. Also, fine-tuning, getting things to work how I want them, getting things to look how I want them, took a bit longer, but here we are, finally back with career mode on F1 24. The previous episode, Japan, in the top right, spoiler warning ahead, so go watch it now. But let's talk about it. So, the last race was a decent performance. We had a really good recovery during the race, and we qualified quite poorly, but in a race where we weren't maybe outright quickest, we just basically managed the strategy and the race the best, and we had a chance and we took it, winning the race on the last lap, and it went down to the last chicane versus Max Verstappen, a lap-long battle pretty much throughout that entire Japanese Grand Prix. So yeah, a really fun last episode brings us to China, the first of 3 sprint races this season, and we're going to delve into upgrades. Now, I was going to go for the rotors for the ERS, but I chose to go intercooler. It's a bit cheaper, and we might be able to afford an upgrade again soon doing this, so hopefully that arrives. Now we jump into specialists. First off, the wind tunnel engineer overtake 8 cars out on track during the race. Then we go to power unit consultant, and for this one we're going to finish in a better position than our teammate. Then material fabrication planner for this one is going to be receive fewer than 2 corner cutting penalties during the race weekend. And then finally, quality assurance tester for this one is going to be incur no more than 2 penalties during an entire weekend. So basically backing myself or putting pressure on myself to not get any penalties all weekend, in a weekend where we have a sprint as well, so double jeopardy. Now with that done, we advance on the timeline and arrive at China. A few extra R&D points, but not a huge amount. I am actually going to run the harder tire allocation for the first time in this entire career mode. I want to try something. I want to go for the hard tire in the sprint. At least that's my plan. Now this weekend we have rain in the race, and I can tell you there's also some rain in the sprint qualifying as well. We don't get that in the forecast, but I can tell you that now in advance. So some mixed conditions this weekend. Either way, overall it should be a fun weekend. I don't particularly like China, but that's part of the challenge. Now elsewhere, interestingly, big upgrade from Mercedes, Red Bull and McLaren. They pull away quite convincingly from us and Aston Martin. So hopefully those upgrades we just got will help us out and close the gap. Hopefully Leclerc has been doing upgrades as well. Here is a championship heading into this race. We're 3 rounds in and we lead by 5 points over Max Verstappen and 10 points over Lando Norris. We also lead by 4 points over McLaren in the Constructors' Championship. So that's kind of all the updates and everything that's new. We now jump into Friday practice. Now, 1 practice session for the whole weekend. We're going to get our race runs done on the soft compound tyre. Admittedly, it felt pretty sketchy. Tyre wear was a real issue here, I'm not going to lie. Either way, we got the program done. In the end, our tyre wear actually was just above average. Fuel consumption was actually quite good. The car is actually really efficient around this track. So a bit of good, a bit of bad. Pace-wise, first 2 laps were good. Lap 2 wasn't fully accurate because I actually opened DRS by accident on the pit straight, so the lap time is a little bit skewed. Anyway, we're finishing 14th on softs. 1.5 off P1, so hard to tell, where to be. There was a lot of tyre, variance in that session.
Well, here we go again. Welcome back to Shanghai. Welcome back to qualifying in China. And this is a technical, tricky track. Whoever takes pole is going to deserve it.
Anyway, into sprint shootout or sprint qualifying, and it's currently, well, according to this anyway, raining. So we're going to go on track, and I'm going to go out pretty late because it seems like the conditions are going to dry. So we're catching the circuit or the track at its best point or the best conditions. Now, intermediates, there's only a handful of cars on track with me right now, and
Okay, 1 minute remaining, just 1 minute.
purple in sectors 1, 2, and now 3 according to the minimap. We go quickest overall, and by quite some margin. The AR went out really early, got the track at its worst conditions, and because of that, the surprise is Lando Norris and Lance Stroll out in SQ1. So 2 of the faster cars out early on. A very mixed up kind of grid at this stage, but now Q2 or SQ2 was contested in dry conditions. So mediums on our car, and now much more, representative conditions in this session. So we have a moment, a really big one. I thought I could have caught it, but we went for a full spin out of the banking. So what was a pretty decent lap ended up being canned, so we had to go again. Now I've got fuel for another attempt, and you can see we're actually quicker on this attempt. We're a 10th up so far and a 10th up in the first sector. We lost a little bit kind of throughout the middle sector, bleeding that advantage away bit by bit by bit, and we're basically level with the exact same point where we spun on our first attempt. So, kind of matching the lap basically and picking up where we left off. Now we have a huge moment, multiple moments, as we catch the car twice on the way out of the hairpin, so that wasn't ideal. I'm struggling with braking with the rig adjustment, so that's something I've got to try to work on. But we go P6, a 10th off P4, a 130.4. Again, I don't really know what to expect pace wise, but Verstappen finishes SQ2 on top, a 130 on the nose, and everybody on mediums, of course. First sprint since the patch where they've basically now locked the AI to mediums in SQ1, SQ2, and now for SQ3 we have soft tyres available. Speaking of which, we're pretty much going to get one attempt because Shanghai tyre wear is pretty high and the tyres are only good for one lap. So we're going to get to it and see if we can deliver. 4 minutes on the clock. Let's go for a lap of Shanghai. Can we fight for pole? Let's find out. A 129.5 only gives us P5, which was a surprise. To be fair though, it's the closest qualifying session of the season. The top 5 covered by less than a tenth. Verstappen on pole in the sprint qualifying, a 129.445, and it's extremely competitive, even down to Leclerc and Gasly. 3/10 is the gap. So a really competitive sprint qualifying, and that could be what's in store for the rest of the weekend. So I'm excited. Either way, sprint shootout finished. As you can see, a small gain on pace. We're now going to move into the actual sprint race.
Welcome to today's sprint. This is shaping up to be another fantastic weekend. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday and he'll start from pole position. And it's Fernando Alonso alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Sainz, Russell, Hamilton, Perez, Oscar Piastri, Leclerc, Gasly, Albon, Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Hulkenberg, Sargent, Teo Porcher, Norris, Stroll, Zhou, Ocon. And Valtteri Bottas begins the race from the back of the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head trackside for today's sprint.
Here we go then, time for the sprint. I've chosen the harder tyre allocation, as you guys saw, so I'm going to burn one of my hard tyres in this sprint. I want to see, I've got a theory, we'll see if it comes true. The hard tyre has always been pretty good for us, so I want to see if I can try and put it to work in a sprint race format. So I believe we have 12 laps ahead of us, so we're going to try and make this compound work. It's going to be tricky. As you can see, I just don't have any tyre temperature. The AI not going fast enough for me to get any sort of tyre warm up, so yeah, we might struggle in the initial phase. Hopefully everything's recording and sounding okay. My head doesn't sound great, but we'll try and get by. Let's see then. First race start on this new rig. Away we go. Not great. Not awful. We've got not very much tyre temperature. Gonna try and go back around the outside of Leclerc and get that spot back. Just don't have tyre temp. I've got no grip. Gonna have to try and suffer through the first lap here to try and stay alive. To the outside of Leclerc on turn 5, maybe. That's going to give us the inside now into turn 6. We'll keep our foot pinned and go back through and regain 6th place. Next stop, Perez, to try and regain that P5 spot. It's going to be a close race. You saw the qualifying pace. I think everyone is pretty evenly matched, so it's going to be, you know, all about those margins. I'm probably a bit more prone to mistakes with this new rig. As I say that, literally on cue, a massive snap through the chicane. Having some audio trouble on my end. You guys probably won't hear this, but my headphones are really quiet, so I can't hear my engine very much, even though my volume is exactly the same as what it was as always. So we'll try and fix it for the race. Anyway, in the meantime, Pierre Gasly on the outside goes through. Leclerc, Piastri battling as well. Gasly in a bit deep at the final corner. We're going to try and get the exit here. Slipstream on Piastri. Can we go 2 for 1? You betcha. You betcha. Good move. Aggressive move. And we're back behind Leclerc. Let's see if we can try and stick with him here on this tyre. Hopefully the race will come to us. Hopefully the top 5 should battle, so that should, you know, help us out in the long run. But for now we have to try and get back in DRS range. Don't have DRS here. We're going to be a bit vulnerable. Just a little bit hesitant in the second part of the lap. Piastri pulls out. Oh my god, I'm really struggling with the braking. Piastri goes through. I'm not going to fight this. We'll try and get him back now into turn 1 with DRS. Well, it wasn't a great exit. No more battery left. This is it. Bit wide. Got to try and pull it back, which we do. Come on, let's try and stick with Leclerc here. No DRS again. Leclerc has caught up to the leading pack. They've been battling pretty heavily. I think if we're smart here, we let Piastri go with DRS, he should be able to form the train back up. So we'll use a little bit of battery to not fall too far back, but Piastri should be able to just go through here. We can slot him behind and try and get this train back together.
Yellow flag.
Yellow flag? I saw a panel, yep. Perez out of the race. Oh my god. Can we get a green? Yes, we can. Piastri tried to turn in, but we was completely alongside. So Perez out of the sprint. Lost a lot of time though. on that lap to the cars and, you know, the pack ahead. Definitely not optimal, so we're going to have to try and row against the tide to try and catch back up here. No DRS, but we've got a decent charge of battery, so we're going to use everything to try and stay ahead of Piastri because we're very quick in the first sector, so it's important that we try and hang on. Oscar closes in, we'll show him to the outside. Back up the inside we go. Not going to let him have that one. Just got to hold on now down towards turn 1 if possible as well. We're going to be under pressure. Oh my god, the overspeed is insane. Piastri goes straight through.
They seem to have an issue.
Straight back up the inside. This is now starting to really hurt our race though. I think this might have been the wrong choice. Also, I don't think I'm very quick in race trim. I can't hear anything, so I think that's affecting my pace. Piastri's going to go here. Again, we're going to try and be smart about this. There's a more efficient way of doing it, which is going to be letting him go here, and then hopefully we repass him on the main straight. And hopefully we can get him into turn 1, and that way we're not losing much time. Definitely not very confident on traction at the moment. I'm too far back. I just don't have the pace or the confidence. Out of battery. We're going to do this again. Straight up the inside. But we're not catching anymore. We're losing time to the top 5. So this could be our race. Ocon out of the sprint. Another retirement. They're dropping like flyers, are they? Right then, here we go again. Piastri will catch. We're actually caught throughout the middle sector. They gained nearly a second. They're battling for the lead right now. If they were to battle a bit more, it could maybe give us a chance. If we just repeat this system where we go through to turn 1, it's probably the most efficient and effective method for us. Okay, that was better. We're a bit closer this time. Throw the dummy. Go through. Come on, let's try. We've still got a chance here. The AR ran out of battery on the last lap as well. Trying to knock on the door. We might nick DRS. But I think we're just too far back, unfortunately. Yeah, I think we just got DRS. But nothing's going to happen. They've all probably run out of battery as well. Just like me. Yep, there we go, we get DRS. So it's going to be a fairly pedestrian end to the sprint. Although there is a battle now actually for P1, but I think we're too far back to pick up any pieces. Still, Verstappen only P4, so it's not a disaster. We did a good job of managing. My pace got better throughout the sprint. We was pretty slow at the beginning. Not because of the tyres, because of the rig. Still getting used to everything, so we'll take it.
That one, guys, but still got some points. Thank you for the continued efforts. Super proud of you. So let's keep pushing.
So confirmation, sprint results, Russell with the victory, Alonso and Sainz round up the podium. So Mercedes do pick up a 1-3 result, big points for them in the constructors. Verstappen only P4 and we finish in P6, and then Piastri, Gasly round out the point scorers. Norris misses out, Stroll misses out, so there's your lot for the sprint.
Well, here we go again. Welcome back to Shanghai. Welcome back to qualifying in China. And this is a technical, tricky track. Whoever takes pole is going to deserve it.
Now, time for qualifying, but before we get on track, here is the post-race fallout from the sprint. Of course, not too shabby. Mixed fortunes. I felt like we found some pace at the end, but we lost too much time stuck in traffic. Didn't quite get the hard tyres to work in that initial half of the sprint, but eventually we came good. So I took some positives that we kind of peaked in the second half of the race. Into qualify now Q1, and we had a bit of a lock-up through turn 5. Through the hairpin, the back end getting a bit loose. We also have a bit of a scruffy final corner there, bumping over the curb. A 1:30.3 is going to be our first lap of the session. I actually chose to go for another attempt because it just felt a bit meh, a bit scruffy. I knew there was more to find, and also a good chance to find out if these tyres can do
Okay, just 2 laps of fuel remaining now.
a couple of laps back to back, because I said before in SQ3, usually Shanghai's a one and done. Now you can see we correct our mistake, but we're not really gaining until now. At the hairpin, we do a better job of getting the car stopped, rotated, and drive out on the traction. And then the final corner as well, much cleaner. And we do find a couple of tenths in the last 2 corners, which moves us straight to second place with a 130.1. So a much better second lap, a much cleaner second lap. Leclerc finishes Q1 on top with a 129.992. Verstappen also in the sub 130s. We, 4th place, take that decent lap, and we now move into Q2. Now this one, first attempt, fresh tyre across the line, and we also go sub 90 seconds at Shanghai for P5. I think that was a pretty decent lap. I decided, a bit like in Q1, to go again. I thought maybe there was a bit more time to find, so I wanted to have another shot and see what we can do. And we found 2 tenths through the first 3 corners, and we were still finding that advantage, but then through here we just got a little bit scruffy, got the line a bit wrong.
Okay, we've only got 1 lap of fuel remaining.
And generally it did cost us some time. I kept on pushing, and we still had a bit of a margin, so we're still finding time as we head through the banking. We just clipped the curb on the inside, which unsettled the car, and then through the hairpin we rear lock on the brakes, and yeah, that was basically it. So luckily we're under no big pressure. We've got a decent lap in the bank, and we finish Q2 in 7th place. Russell setting the pace, 129.5. The best time of the weekend so far has been a 4 from Verstappen in SQ3, so that kind of gives you an idea of what the AI can do. Now in Q3, Verstappen a 30.0, not particularly quick. We've seen this before in career mode where the AI go a bit slow in the actual qualifying. Either way, one and done. Let's go for it. Oof, that's a big lap. A 129.2, the best lap of the weekend by some margin, and nobody gets close. Again, I'll mention it in SQ3, Verstappen did a 0.4, but the AI, as we've seen in these sprints, goes slower in the actual qualifying compared to the sprint qualifying. So yeah, a pretty easy pole, but it doesn't tell the full story of the AI's pace. So I think we're still in for a fight tomorrow, especially you saw how the sprint race went. So I think it's good that we're on pole, but it's going to be a long race. Either way, qualifying done, another pole in the bank.
The Chinese Grand Prix then is upon us once again. A race that saw Michael Schumacher claim his final Formula One victory in 2006, as well as Red Bull's first with Sebastian Vettel in 2009. There's no doubt plenty more drama to come here in Shanghai. We start a lap here at Shanghai with the long, difficult right-handers of turns 1 and 2, the first of 16 corners that make up this 3.3-mile circuit. The incredibly long back straight provides the best passing opportunity of the lap, with speeds in excess of 200 miles per hour before we head into the braking zone for turn 14. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, edging out Lando Norris, who'll start from P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Verstappen, Oscar Piastri, Russell, Leclerc, Fernando Alonso, Gasly, Bottas, Teo Porcher, Ricciardo, Albon, Sainz, Tsunoda, Zhou, Hülkenberg, Sargent, Stroll, Perez, and Esteban Ocon lines up at the back of the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track. Welcome to the commentary box. I'm Alex Jakes, delighted to say that we're joined today by Anthony Davidson. Now, those final hours before a race, did you have a routine?
Well, for them, you've got your pre-race rituals that you go through. You see different drivers that, some have got their headphones on, they're listening to the music. Some drivers really absorb the energy from the crowd and they're there waving to them. Other drivers, they go within themselves. They chat to their engineers, absorbing that information, that vital information that you need to carry you through the race. And, those pre-race rituals are essential to making things systematic. We do a lot of Grand Prix in a season, and the more systematic you can be, the easier you are within that environment.
Here we go, time for the race. Now, this is going to be interesting because we have a little bit of spice in the form of rain being added as a special ingredient into this race. Now, before we go into the forecast, I want to note a few things. Obviously, we got poled by a pretty big margin, but at the same time, I don't feel like I'm that quick around here, or at least I feel very inconsistent. And, the sprint race kind of highlighted our inconsistency with our pace. So I don't think we'll be as quick as qualifying in the race. That being said, it should still be a decent one for us. Now, there is one factor here which might make things hard for us, but I think could be the better option, and that is tyres. I'm going to start again on the hards and try to make them work. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because the rain, there's two icons at the end, so in my mind, I reckon I could probably take hards straight into the rain if necessary. So I think that's probably the best choice. I think we have two fresh mediums, so we could do that as well, to be fair. Let me actually check just to be sure, because I don't know if we have two fresh mediums or not. No, we don't. Okay, so we don't have an extra medium, so abandon that plan. So we'll stick with a hard and try and make it work. 0.5 extra fuel, and we're going to see how it goes. A lot of grid drops as well in this one, signs way down, so we'll see how that goes. Perez also on the last row. So let's get into it and try and hopefully make it 3 out of 4 in Season 2 in terms of race wins. The beauty of being in P1 is that you get to really warm up the tyres because you can just drive off, so we can really work the rubber. Now, interestingly, we're not the only ones opting to start on hards. Norris, Verstappen, Piastri all joining us on this strategy call. So Russell is being the wild one here on the medium, so we're taking a bit of a different approach. So we'll see who's in the right and who's in the wrong, but we can't see beyond P5 and what compounds they've gone for further back. But the main thing is that our main rivals, Norris and Verstappen in the championship, have gone for the same tyres as us, so it should be an interesting race. So let's try and hopefully have a good one. Here we go, Chinese Grand Prix main event. Lights on, lights out, and away we go. That's a much better start than the sprint. We've got some tyre temperature, which helps. In the wrong battery mode though, so Norris goes through. We're going to try and get in behind him to stop Piastri and Verstappen from having a look. But Norris with a good start. Oh, big snap there as the back end gets loose. This isn't too bad. I'll take this. This is a decent start for us. I might just knock that brake bars forward a little bit to avoid that rear locking. Now in the sprint, we lost DRS on the first lap. So I've got to try and work here to stay within a second of Norris, because otherwise we're just going to lose a lot of time. Russell, to be fair, will be very quick on that medium tyre, who's battling quite heavily with Verstappen now, so that could break the three of us away here. Myself, Lando and Oscar. We might just have a lucky break. Oh, that's a big snap there. I hate it when that happens. The car feels fine and then suddenly the back end just goes. This is giving Lando a bit of a gap, so we're going to have to just lean on the battery to try and close in. Keep it tidy through here, don't overdo it on the braking. Still got another lap until we get DRS on that back straight. We'll be enabled now, but we've got a while yet. We've got to get through an entire lap first to use it. Come on.
DRS now enables. DRS enables.
We're pretty decent in the first sector, so let's keep it tidy. Stick with Norris and get ready to play the long game. We've got DRS, so this time we've managed everything really well. I'm definitely way more comfortable now with the car. I've made some more changes to the rig. Also, unlike the sprint, I can hear my car now, which is also helping because I can hear what I'm doing. So let's see. Alonso has got himself into a cheeky P4 and jumped Verstappen and Russell on mediums. Russell about to get dropped by Alonso out of DRS range, so we'll see. Maybe Russell and Max might have a slight bit of damage, especially Russell on the medium. But right now, things are looking pretty good. Although Alonso will likely get within our DRS, probably. That's my prediction.
And some information on Leclerc. Okay, they're slowing down. It seems like there's some kind of problem with their car.
Now the question is it terminal or is it temporary? Lando there might have just accidentally escaped from my DRS. Had a bit of a scruffy middle sector. I tried to attack the apex to get close. We don't have DRS on Norris here, so we'll have to burn the batteries to get back within range. This is rather scary, but we're not going to be able to do that every single lap. Braking late enough that Piastri doesn't go down the inside. He had a look, but he didn't commit. And now we're back in DRS range. Oh, just saw a brief green flag. I think. Oh, it's Leclerc. Leclerc's out, so his car's given up. That's the end for our teammate. Or maybe he's got a puncture. He's still going. No, okay, there we go. Leclerc out. I'm assuming he's blocking the pit exit, but we're not going to get a safety car, VSC or red flag, so we're down to just one Ferrari in this race now.
Okay, Lewis, Lando's ahead of you now. We don't want to let this hold us up too long, so do your best to get past and get on with the race.
No, well, we've got time, so we're not going to rush into that just yet. We can afford to let a few more laps go by. Don't need to panic.
Okay, expect to see some rain about 10 to 15 minutes from now.
Okay, there we go. There's the first update. Let's keep tabs and see how it progresses. Just realised we're going to fail the challenge. It was before lap 10. So we've run out of time. Probably could have passed in there, to be fair. Never mind.
Well, I'm afraid we didn't quite meet our targets there, but don't worry about it. Get your head down and chin up, and let's focus on the rest of this race.
I don't think the AI are going to try and stay out for the rain. That's, you know, they're not that smart. So I'm on my own with this strategy. So we'll want to see if it's going to work out or not. We don't really have to push the tyres, to be honest. We need to make them last. So this is working well for us. Also, fuel-wise, if I was in clean air pushing, I'd probably be burning out fuel. Because I'm not even saving, sitting behind Norris and lifting and coasting. So that's also big. I'm struggling to see certain corners so much because of Alonso and his fastest lap. It's literally eye to apex level perfect. That purple makes it really hard to see anything. So I keep having a horrible chicane and I can't get close to Norris. Also, Norris is really good on traction through the banking and on the exit. Norris defends thin air. I'm doing the exact same thing I've done every single lap, but I think I might have a go at passing him here because Verstappen has quietly snuck up to this group and he's just chilling at the back of the train there. Alonso should be in soon. Let's have a go at this and let's see if I can try and get Lando and pull away.
Okay, Lewis. Right, we've got a full battery, which means we can use more of it to gain performance. Let's go.
Yep, I plan on draining it.
Nice work. You smashed it. Really good job on hitting that target, mate.
We didn't quite break DRS and Norris, but we did have a pretty respectable gap. I think confirming we do have some pace, but it's hard to break away around here. Period. It's hard to pull away. Alonso could be in any lap now, to be fair, off those mediums, so I don't think it'll take long to box. Personal best. Tyres still looking decent nick. We've managed to break Piastri out of DRS range. Alonso pits.
The pit window, and you're going to be on mediums.
Norris having a look into turn 1. This is really not optimal. We've just broken DRS with his teammate, but I had no battery to defend with in the turn 1. Norris is keeping the pressure on here. We'll show him.
Be aware, the grip levels are going to start falling away soon.
Oh, a bit of a lock up. Scruffy driving. This is bringing Piastri back in.
So we're expecting rain in about 10 to 15 minutes.
Well, that's not what I expected. A lot of the time, after that update, the next one's usually rain in 5 minutes. So we'll hang out for a few more laps, just in case. Norris is going to get me here, so I'm never going to use battery. No point. We may as well keep it efficient. Verstappen also about to get dropped by Piastri, so Verstappen doesn't have a ton of pace in the car. We'll try and repass Norris maybe into turn 1. If I have any rear tyres. There we go, that was nice. Don't have a ton of battery, but we'll go back through. And thus we keep our gap to P3 and beyond. Oh, there we go, Norris is in the pits.
Push now, we're boxing this lap.
We'll see. Verstappen also boxes, of course Piastri has to stay out. We'll get a weather update in at the end of the lap to see what we can do.
The rain's a few lap outs yet, but it is coming, so be careful. Dries definitely seem like the fastest tyre at the moment.
I'm going to go long. I'm going to commit to the strategy. That message sounds like it's not far out at all, so we're just going to keep running. We've got a buffer. Let's just hope it rains enough for intermediates. 2 icons should be inters. Should be.
Okay, Lewis, we've got some clear track in front of us, and let's make the best of it. So please make this next one a very fast lap.
Well, that should be pretty easy. We're slow, but we're not that slow. We're 2 seconds a lap slower than Norris right now.
Oh, great stuff. You hit that target. Really good job.
Oh, here we go. Rain has arrived. Right then, let's see how this progresses. Lando's gained a lot, but still over 10 seconds adrift. Let's see, we're going to knock it down to medium to avoid wheel spin. I think we've got this on the money. Hopefully it's a relatively standard transition, not too slow.
So this rain could be with us for a while. Light rain conditions for the foreseeable future. Dries definitely seem like the fastest tyre at the moment.
Lovely. So the race is going to be we're going to see the race out on inters. As we say that, Verstappen goes P2, overtaking Norris. That's going to halt their progress a little if they start battling. Conditions starting to get delicate. This is a tricky lap to decide if I want to pit or not. I still think dries are quicker, but we are on very, very knackered hard tyres. I also wonder if the AI are even going to pit. They might just stay out on dries, knowing what they're like. This is just me driving like an idiot. The track isn't this bad. But the grip is starting to go. The delta is usually about 5 or 6 seconds, and compared to your PB lap, that's kind of like what you want to look for, maybe even 7 seconds. We're kind of 4 seconds away, it's not quite there yet. This could be the lap though. I mean, we have to change tyres, we can't do a whole race on a compound.
Pitting this lap then, coming to the pits at the end of this lap.
I'm going to box this lap. I think at this point an intermediate now would be drivable. Inters can drive quite well on a dry track in this game, so we're going to box and just basically be on the right tyre, and then we should be okay for the rest of the race. So easy does it, into the pits. Grip is getting quite low now though, to be fair. We've taken those fronts to the limit, 64%. Right then, we need a good smooth stop here, please. Thank you. Never mind. 4-second stop, not great. We're going to rejoin ahead of Sainz, so P6 on the Inter. Let's see if we can get this tyre to work.
That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. Let's go.
I don't think that AI are going to box at this point. They're going to probably soldier on dries in these conditions, so we're probably going to have to re-overtake to win this, so hold on to your hats. It's a very slow transition as well, so even more reason for them to stay out and go long. They're staying out, they're not pitting, it's already intermediate, so I've gained a second on Sainz on this lap alone, so it's only going to get quicker for us. Now the rain's starting to properly come down, so 3 laps to go, but we need to win this on track. This rain still isn't properly coming down. We're quicker, but DRS is still enabled. 2 laps to go, Russell's right in front, but there's still a pretty sizable gap to the top 4. It's one thing to catch, it's another thing to pass. Perez out, so just like Leclerc, Red Bull lose their second car. Whoa! Snappy, snappy. Let's try and get George, who is obviously struggling, but it's not impossible to drive for these guys. I'm actually going to try and see if I can get some DRS here to help me. Seeing as it is still enabled. The AI do this every time. Whenever you get close, they just make a mistake every single time without...
So we've been looking at the damage and we think we should be okay to continue. It's going to cost us a little bit of time, but we're nearly at the end of the race.
Without foul. Every time, guaranteed. And now he's going to go straight back through like nothing happened. So we're going to go straight back up the inside and take that back. Should still be doable, but last lap the rain hasn't come down, so I don't think we're going to win this. I think we might have thrown this one away.
The track is clear, green flag.
Lost 2 seconds there with that tussle, and we're really tight on fuel as well. Oh my god, we're going to suffer here. We need that wing through these corners and we don't have it. Worst thing is, it looks like Verstappen's going to win. He's ahead of Norris. They're not battling, so Max is going to win the race, barring a last corner mistake. And there it is, DRS disabled. It just didn't change quick enough.
DRS has been disabled by the stewards. DRS will be offline, wait for further updates.
I don't know if we would have caught that damage, but either way, P5, we kind of threw that away, to be honest.
That one, guys, but still got some points. Thank you for the continued efforts. Super proud of you, so let's keep pushing.
Final corner for the final time, Max Verstappen takes the win.
Well, another race victory today. You could clearly see they're driving out there with very little pressure. You know they have the performance, they know they've got the car under them as well, and this has done no harm, of course, for their championship chances.
Here come today's winners. The team at Red Bull have done a phenomenal job recently. It's clear to see that they've put in the work, and they should be proud of the victory they've secured here.
So there we go, race finished in Shanghai. These are the final combined weekend results. A bit of an average sprint, and then the race, I let myself down. Verstappen scores 30 fat points for the championship. Alonso second overall, tying on Norris in terms of points. So yeah, a bit of a scruffy weekend, to be fair. P1 in the championship. Not sure if he'll still be there anymore, but this season so far, 4 races in, P1, P6, P1, P5. That kind of highlights the consistency issue, but let's delve into the standings after that race. So Verstappen leads, 12 points advantage, Norris 4 behind us, so a pretty big flip in the championship. In the Constructors, third, Red Bull, McLaren both overtake us. McLaren with a pretty decent flip of the script, breaking into the 3 figures. So yeah guys, that's going to be it for the race and the video. On screen now you're going to have the post-race fallout. I'm not sure if we'll take a bit of a hit to our driver stats after that result, because that wasn't exactly what I had in mind. But yeah, also in the rivalry, Verstappen's going to, you know, outscore us. But to be fair, Leclerc DNF. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Anyway guys, cheers for watching. Big shout out to the members, of course. A big shout out to you a lot guys in the comments. I really do appreciate it, and supporting the channel. As always, check out the 2 videos on the screen and also the links down below in the description for channel sponsors and affiliates. But yeah guys, cheers for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care, and it's goodbye from me.